Hello everyone, I'm Margaret and welcome to Deliciously Sweet and Savory. Today I'm going to show you how to make a dairy-free cream of mushroom soup. This soup tastes as good as the dairy alternative and is just as simple to make. So let's get started with this recipe. For this recipe, you need baby bella mushrooms, water, olive oil, ground rolled oats, onions, onion powder, black pepper, salt, and garlic powder. I use rolled oats, then finely chop them in a food processor until it has a flour-like consistency. Make sure you use baby bella or portobello mushrooms, as white mushrooms are weak in flavor and the soup will end up with little flavor. First, finely chop the onions in a food processor. Then take 3/4 of the mushrooms and finely chop them into 1/4-inch cubes. I like to do this manually so the pieces are equal in size, but you can coarsely grind the mushrooms in a food processor if you like. Now take the reserved mushrooms, cut off the hard parts of the stem, and cut them into slices of 1/4 inch thick. Repeat the process for all of the mushrooms and set aside for later. In a large pot, add the onions, spread them out across the pot, add 1 teaspoon of olive oil, and let the onions cook on high heat, with the pot covered until they are translucent. Make sure to stir them occasionally. After a few minutes, the onions should be translucent. Now add the diced mushrooms to the pot and saute for 5 minutes with the pot covered, stirring occasionally until the mushrooms begin to brown. The volume of the mushrooms should reduce by half and have released some fluid. Now add the ground oats to the mushrooms and mix thoroughly. Then add the water to the pot. Give the pot a good mix and bring to a boil on high heat. Once boiling, reduce the heat to medium and let cook for 20 minutes with the pot covered, stirring occasionally. While waiting, we are going to saute some mushrooms. In a frying pan, add about a tablespoon of olive oil and heat on high heat. Then add the reserved, sliced mushrooms and saute for 5 minutes. Now add 1 or 2 pinches of salt to the mushrooms and continue to saute the mushrooms for a few minutes until the mushrooms have browned, and set aside for later. After cooking for 20 minutes, the oats should have completely dissolved. Now season the soup with salt, garlic powder, onion powder, and black pepper. Don't over-season the soup at this point, because the soup is going to continue to cook, and more seasoning can be added later on. Stir thoroughly and let cook for 5 minutes. Next, add some of the sautéed mushrooms to the soup, and reserve some to put on top of the soup when it's done. You can put them all in the soup if you want. Then stir the pot thoroughly and let cook for another 5 minutes. At this point, you can add more salt and black pepper to taste. Otherwise, the soup is done and ready to serve. This mushroom soup is packed with flavor. It also has that thick and creamy texture that you look for in a cream of mushroom soup. And the diced mushrooms provide a needed bite to the soup. This dairy-free mushroom soup recipe has a great mushroom flavor that is enhanced by the seasonings, tastes just as good as the dairy alternative, and is vegan and vegetarian friendly. It is also quite healthy to eat, very hearty and satisfying, and is not too difficult to make. So have fun giving this recipe a try. For more recipes like this one, visit my website, which also has the written recipes and ingredient amounts. You can also follow my channel. I'd like to take a moment to thank my patrons for their support. If you'd like to become a patron to support my channel, visit my Patreon page. Also, if there are any recipes, Cuban or otherwise, that you'd like to see, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching and see you soon with another recipe.